Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Dungeon Boys.
Sup.
It has been such a long time. I am your second favorite, Nick, and...
I am your third favorite, Jair.
It is good to be back.
Oh yes.
We apologize for our little week, almost 2 weeks.
Very, very much. We do appreciate, your support.
Oh my gosh.
For you guys listening.
No. See, we've got people listening, and it was the greatest uplifting thing. Yeah. As soon as we had a episode delay, we're getting messages from people like, "Hey, where was the new episode?" And James at Eden asked to point out who it is that. We were busy gaming, and then Sean yelled at us like, "Hey, Nick!" Perk head up. And he was like, "Hey, this guy wants to know about the podcast." I was just blown away. That was one of the highlights of my week.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really cool. So thanks, James, for listening in. This episode goes for you.
Yeah, this is for you, James. Yes. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
This is I don't think it's going to be that different from any other episode, but this is our double episode special.
Yes.
Well, what's on the menu today?
So we have some good stuff, some really, really neat stuff. We have Welcome to, we're going to be talking about this game in a minute. So, how do you say it? How do you call it?
It is a roll and write. But there's no dice.
No dice.
It's in the same genre as Yahtzee, but your cards instead of dice. How does that work? You'll find out.
Yeah, and then we have your Home Pride.
Oh, yes. My Kickstarter came in, and so we are going to be reviewing Montana, the Heritage Edition, but still the full game of Montana.
So many cows.
Oh, man, a lot of story on that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. Then we have not one, but 2 episodes of Scythe to go through.
Oh, yes. And one that I completely missed.
Yeah, we had a little bit Jair -1, but, we're going to be really light on the spoilers. It's going to be just more, it was wacky. Oh, yes. We had some wacky games, and the salt mines are flowing. Then we have some fun updates for summer camp, because, spoiler, kept to the promise.
Yes.
Kept to the promise.
Yes.
But first, we wanted to, we talked about the fans a bit. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and listening. And give us the feedback. We want to hear back. We're going to come up with questions. We want to hear some of your stories, things like that. Message us on Facebook. Mention on Twitter. Hit us on the email. DungeonBoysRadio.
Any questions you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can ask how our days has been. You can ask about the games, but, whatever. You can ask whatever.
These sorts of podcasts really thrive with your feedback, as you guys are as much a part of this as we are, I believe.
Definitely ask questions about the tea as well. Maybe we have some people that are not really into board games, and they're just listening
They
in
are
for the
just
tea
here
input.
for the tea.
They are tea sommeliers, or however
I didn't even know what word you just used there. But the great thing is we need to come back with a vengeance. So I got us some pungent tea here. I set the water to boiling, and your nose started sniffing, and the tea bags are all on their own, and you were smelling those from the other side of the room.
Yeah, I'm excited for that part of the show.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
for the other stuff too.
Oh,
sure.
But
why not?
We were talking about, what are we to talk about how we've been?
Yeah, how you been, Nick?
I've been doing good, and you recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died, but then he came back.
Yes. I got a flu shot for the very first time.
Very first.
Yeah, and, I've never had the flu, and I guess I did just last
it was like
Wednesday.
A day or so, right?
Yeah, when we were supposed to record, but, we're recording now, and I'm feeling better.
Your throat was in no condition for such things.
Nope. I got some other tea. I got some ginger and lemon back at my house. That helped a bunch. But Wednesday didn't happen for me. I was just in bed all day.
It does matter?
What?
The remedy for everything.
What was that?
It starts with a V. It ends with a B. Actually, it ends with an S, but it's the Venture Brothers.
Oh, Venture Brothers.
This has been my lifeblood since middle school. And Jair here.
You've given me a blood transfusion.
A blood transfusion?
That's gross.
Wow. No, you've been diving in for the past month or so.
Yes.
Headstrong.
I am in love with this show. This is a show I used to watch with my sister back in the day. But I probably saw 2 or 3 episodes back when I was a kid. And, I was a kid, so I wasn't really allowed to watch that show. But I got to it.
If you don't start in the same way you just start an soap opera or something, it's easy just to dismiss it.
Yeah.
You can tell there was some funny stuff. I hear that a lot. I've watched a couple episodes, and that's the curse of the show now, is if you don't start at the beginning, or at least season 2, it's at this point, season 6, you can't jump in.
No.
It started off as a show with one-offs. So Venture Brothers is a show that has started off as parodies. It's a parody of Johnny Quest if he was to grow up in the shadow of his father and just be a complete failure. It's a parody of comic book villains. Instead of animal-based ones like Catwoman and the Penguin, we have the mighty monarch obsessed with butterflies and his girlfriend, Dr. Girlfriend. It's absolutely incredible that this dopey, goofy show that was pretty clever to start. It's ingenious.
It's just grown into such a achievement in writing and character development that it's silly and
it's so much more than you could have ever imagined it being when it first started. The story's rich, and I think there's one of the best things about the show early on is that they made a point that their characters don't wear the same clothes all the time. There's a point where one of the kids gets kidnapped by the monarch, and he's just I have to stay here overnight? Oh, man, I'm going to be stuck in the same clothes. It's so gross. Are you kidding? That's the one thing of clothes I've seen you in. Doesn't mean I don't wash it. and now, later on in seasons, they're always wearing different clothes. And again, if you know anything about cartoons, that's weird. That's super strange. And just that little detail, transcended, and now these characters, I can't remember the last time we heard Dr. Girlfriend referred to as such. She's Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, spoiler warning. But it's so incredible, all the weird stuff that's happened and where everybody's ended up. And if you like parody, you like good comedy, but full-bodied.
Oh, yes.
Not just a quick laugh, not just absurdist humor, because I love 30 Rock. But if you need something with more body to it, I don't think you can get better than Venture Brothers.
I give it a gold star. Dude.
Oh, man. That's our first non-game, board game related double gold star.
Oh, heck yeah.
But Boogaloo. I was going to say Bonanza. Yeah. Oh, man.
But let's talk about games, huh?
Let's talk about games. I wanted to get that Venture shout out because I'm watching the new season, and you are one season behind me now.
Yeah.
In 1 month, you've pounded through 6 seasons.
And it's one of those shows that as soon as I finish it, I want to go back into it because there's so many little subtle details of characters and shout outs that just from season 1, they bring them up in season 5, and you're like, wow, how did they go through this whole series in such a clean cut universe that they've created, and so awesome. So
you bring up something interesting there because it's a show that is now in its 6th and 7th season, really relying on all of its backstory that they never intended to go back to, and they're able to write stories that they can jump back to and reference, and there's no real what's what I'm looking for. Inconsistencies.
No.
And that's ridiculous. They aren't even trying. That's the thing is they do a little research okay, let's do it. But you said let's go into games. And what are we starting with, Jair?
So, we have Welcome to, developed by, Blue Cocker Games.
Yes.
You have a name? Benoit Turpin. Sorry, I'm
Benoit
messing up your name.
Turpin, I believe.
Benoit Turpin. This is a game that I would probably not get into if I had seen it on my own, but thankfully I have the wonderful inputs of your game master, Nicholas
Oh.
here. So first time we played it. So let's talk about it first. So it's like you said, roll and
not Roland Wright. That's the running joke right now.
Okay.
Everybody's talking about these sorts of games.
All right.
But roll and write.
Roll and write. Now, you would say it's kind of similar, as you were saying, as we were playing it, similar to what a Yahtzee game is.
Or there's other games out there coming out now that are really cheap, that you just roll dice, you write down things.
Right.
And this is in that same genre.
So yeah, welcome to, you are basically developing your community, your township. You get, your page with rows and streets of houses that they have pools. They can be, close in on fences. But how you do this, you're trying to fill in these houses with the numbers that you get from a deck of cards. And you have to, align them from the lowest number to the highest number, from left to right. And you can't put a 10 to the left of a 9 because you're messing up the order, which is what I did on my first try. I was just really tired, and I was just like, what do I do? But
it's great to be a legitimate. We are officially a legitimate gaming podcast because one of us can't do this game right the first time. Every other podcast has claimed the exact same story, so it's a thing now.
But it's really cool because the first time I was not having a good time playing it up until like the very end where I understood what was going on. But we just played it again
right before we started.
Right before we started, and I was like, "Oh, this makes perfect sense." You just have to fill up the numbers in the right order, and you get really into it. But there's so many variables on what you want to do with your community because you get these objective cards. It tells you, oh, you have to close in a certain amount of houses in a estate, and you do that by closing it up with fences, which is another card you get. But, it is hard to me to explain it, and this is the reason Nick explained it to me, and I had no idea how to play it. But, as you said, if you know Yahtzee, you know what this game is, with a couple more things added to it, which makes it so much better and so much, enjoyable the second time you play it.
Well, okay, so you brought up some interesting stuff there. As far as, because the reason we bust this out beforehand, we had a little bit of time, but also because our original idea was maybe we will talk about it, and then it'll be more me talking about it, and then Jair will revisit it after a few more plays. I was like, I just don't think that's necessary.
Yeah.
Jair, like I said before, you pick up games faster than anyone I've seen. So I was like, let's give this another shot. Welcome to is incredibly simple, and it makes a lot of sense. But unless you have a large group, because the game scales infinitely, 1 to 100, because all the moves are unanimous, and we'll discuss that in a bit. I feel like unless everyone is 100% enthused and has done a little bit of research, people are going to struggle. And they're going to ask tons of questions. They're going to make mistakes. And my philosophy is with roll and writes, you do it in pen. You make the mistakes, and you just because you don't want to sit there, oh, wait. You're gonna mess up, and you have to own up to it. With this is a game I'm going to play a ton of over and over again. So what we did today is what I would do with other groups. I would not play with more than 3 or 4 people intimately, not at a loud game night, but maybe like at work on a slow time. Like, hey, let's open this up. Let's talk it out. Because today I was able to sit right next to you, and you had questions, just point over. No, you can't do that, but you could do this.
Right.
There's an ability, we'll come to it in a second, called BIS. And you were struggling with it, and then I was able to say, hey, look, you can do it here and here.
Yeah.
And then you even said, oh my gosh, of course. Okay, great. And at that point, because once it clicks, this game makes all the sense in the world. And it's so simple that the complicated things that are not that complicated look so much more so, considering the rest is all just putting numbers down. So yeah, there are 3 cards. There's 3 cards in front of you with house numbers on them. And from that, everybody can choose one of those numbers each. And everybody can choose the same number. It's not that you take them, they just sit on the table. And as long as you can see them, you're able to play. And underneath them are the powers. And the powers are, put a pool. If the house there has the ability for a pool, you can put one out. add to the parks to your area. Maybe it's a temp agency, which lets you flex the number. You have all your 7s down, and there's a 7, but it lets it turn into maybe a 9 or a 6, or you get that extra number you need when you're trying to fill things out just right.
I did forget about that temp agency. Yeah. You can bend the numbers.
Yeah,
I totally
You'll
forgot
forget
about
things, but it's not the matter of game breaking forgetting.
That's what I like about it. Once I played it the second time, is as soon as I made a decision, I look around my neighborhood and I said, "Oh, that was not the best decision to take."
Yes.
Let's make sure next time I play it, I look around a little bit better. And it's just a game that I'm sure the more you play it, the more
less mistakes you make.
The less mistakes
Nope. I mean, nope. That's the best part of the game. Is I made mistakes today. I would do something. I'd look up. I didn't need to do that. Yeah. I needed that spot. And that's what makes the game great. Is you can go in any direction with 3 cards out on the field, each with usually 3 different abilities. You have everyone is doing different stuff. This is a game you could technically all play the same way, but no one is, because someone's going to say, you know what, using the 3 and upping our real estate, which makes your estates housed in fenced-in housing areas more valuable. But he's like, I'm going to use that. Well, I think using the pool this turn is the best thing. And by the end of it, you all have vastly different neighborhoods. Based off the same sheet of paper. All the neighborhoods look identical. It's how you build them from there. You know, this is nothing new. We have Scaravia. You have not played that yet. But again, it's a move where everybody makes the same moves at the same time. But because everyone has their own thing, they're just, I'm sure I could do this better. And then you mess up. You are going to mess up in this game. And it's just formulated in such a way, you're like, oh, yeah, that was a good move. Yeah. The next move, that was, wait, I could have done this. And it's just too late. Because again, we play in pen. Yeah. Always play in pen. Throw the pencils out. You don't need it. But and then the objective cards. And the objective cards add a whole nother, so not only are you trying to build the best houses and everything, but the objective cards say, hey, if you can get an estate, which again are fenced-in housing areas numbered, 3 of those, let's say, estates of 2 houses, that's an objective. Or a 1 estate, a 2 estate, and a 3 estate. And so while you could just try to go max score with a bunch of 6 estates and max out how much they're worth, you could do all this big point stuff. There's someone over there just making small little ones, trying to get, and they will yell out, hey, I did it. I got the objective. And everyone starts groaning because they were racing for it.
Yeah, because once someone does the objective,
they get a big amount of points, and the card gets flipped over, and everybody's allowed a little bit.
Like a fraction of the points.
Usually half or less.
Didn't this guy we're playing Scythe with, Evan, was Evan or Adrian that said that he had the game figured out?
Evan
It is a number game.
It is a number game, and he was talking about how you can, he's one of the smartest people I've ever played games with. Arguably, the smartest guy, I would say him and Adrian really compete for the absolute, smartest guy in Scythe. And it's just trying to compete with those guys. But that's later. But Evan is actually not too fond of Welcome to because he feels he's got it figured out. And my only argument to that is he played one game, and he played one where all the objectives were estate-based. But a lot of those cards say, get all the pools in a certain lane, get all the parks in a certain one. And he won the game, I believe, by finishing out the objectives. So you can complete the game by either completing all the objectives.
Right.
You can either get all your houses filled out. We have a stack of used games. I like to collect all the sheets when you're done and just keep them as a form of pride. Look how many we played. And you can do that. And the other option, and this is usually what happens, is whenever you run out of, when the numbers come out and you're like, I've used all of those. I have no room. I can't put them down. There's a I messed up space.
Right.
And you can fill out 3 of them. It's 3 strikes, you're out. And then once somebody has filled out 3, they're like, hey guys, I hit 3, the game is over. And that's not the end of the world. It just means you're to have less points. You're to have a penalty at the end.
Right.
You may still win.
Less chance to rack up your points.
Yeah, but you can also really mess people up too that were trying to fill out their estates, because your estates only score if all the numbers inside are filled. And it's so wild. Just all these different variables. I agree with Evan, there's strategy to go with. I don't think I would consider it figured out. So that would be my argument, and I mean, the only way we could truly prove this is like continuing to play with like Evan. But he does have solid numbers. I forget what he does for a living. I think he does like coding and stuff. So I mean, he's Mr. Numbers. But it was really interesting to hear that, because a lot, like the first time we walked away, I think he was the only one that walked away negative. Everyone else was like, well, not even negative. He didn't hate it.
Right.
But he just wasn't as warm to it. Whereas everyone else was like, I really like that. That was wow. And it was really great because, you know, we struggled.
And he only played it like the one time.
Yeah.
I mean, I walked out on the first time playing it not liking it just because I didn't understand it. But I'm sure, you know, he had his reasons.
No, and he posed some interesting. The other thing is, again,
Mr.
Evan's
Smart Guy.
is a bigger fan of the thicker games.
Right.
He's trying to figure out a Twilight Imperium playthrough here. Anybody who knows board games knows exactly what that means. For those who don't, that's like a 10-hour one-time sit-through game. It's ridiculous. I'm excited for it. But these smaller ones are already a little unattractive to him.
Because he doesn't like party games.
He hates party games. I don't know. He said he figured it out, and I would just like to play with him more and see if that's true or not. But even so, like today, I thought I was making dumb moves. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and make this a race. I'm going to really try to speed the game up. And when we played today, and I thought, like, it's going to hurt me point-wise. It didn't. It actually worked out really well that time, turning into a race, playing what I thought was super and optimal. Actually, we're creating great combos and getting my objectives faster. So the penalties actually evened out that I still earned a bunch of points. So,
even myself, I got two objectives done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got one objective first and got me some good points out of there. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, first time playing it, I did really, really bad. And this second time, I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And the great thing is, since there's no player interaction, really, all the interaction is all of us having the same opportunities and everyone going in different paths. Right. The best part is, without that, it can also just be a self-improvement game, like a lot of Euro games where it's like, I lost, but I got more points than last time. I'm getting better. You can watch your actual improvement and know that no one else got in the way of that outside of certain scoring things, which are super minor in that fact.
Yeah.
I think we talked about no player interaction. There isn't in the game, but the game organically creates. I can't tell you how many times today we were setting up, and the houses, there's only so many houses with pools. And to get the pools used, you have to have a number has to show up with a pool, and you have to have space to put that down, or else it's just another number, no pool powers, whatever. We would flip, and of the three numbers, I remember the number 3 and pool showed up, and both of us looked at our boards, and we both started giggling at the same time, like, yeah. And I know we both put down the exact same number in the exact same spot. And it was rare. That didn't happen often. But those rare moments that could happen, I was laughing.
Yeah, that's
and,
awesome.
you know, I just don't... You do that with Yahtzee when you get, you know, a Yahtzee. And maybe that happens once or twice in the game.
I'm going to be real honest here. I've never played Yahtzee before.
Well, okay, so here's...
I know the game.
But consider these. First of all, you're making your turn. You're rolling your dice. And people watch you do it. It's like, okay, cool. You're stacking them up, but there's only so much you can do. You only get, like, 5 dice, and you're trying to make things eat. The thrill of Yahtzee is when things start to fill up.
Right.
How do you compensate? And so it's a lot like the middle game of Welcome to, when the numbers start to stack up and you start to run low, and your options, even though there's 3 cards on the field, only one of them you're legally allowed to put in your neighborhood. And if it wasn't there, you'd have to take a strike, and you don't want that.
Right.
So it's good as far as the old classic games.
Yeah, it's a good classic
Yahtzee
game.
Still kind of holds up. You know, your granddad will play it, so, I mean, that's worth something, genuinely. But, like, yeah, I feel like if we were still relying on it for the roll and write genre, I would dismiss the genre as a whole. It's just kind of not worth it. But in the past year, a lot of games have been coming out, and yeah, Welcome to really, like, I had high expectations for it. It was kind of the game I've been looking for, a fun filler with other board gamers. I was saying right before the podcast, I don't think it's a filler when you have to teach it.
Right.
But unlike, because I'm that guy that comes in every board game night with new games, which means I have to teach them, but I need to see what they're like. I want to play them. I want to get that excitement. This is one I will bring to play with the same people again and again.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I would bring it again to board game night, maybe. But, friends are coming over. If you're coming over and we're bored, I'm going to open this up.
I feel like, what is it? This one? What's another one that I think is...
Like Seven Wonders Duel?
No, but that's, that's like legacy Nick and Jair.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Seven Wonders is a game for 2 to 7 players that you play in a big group. Then they made a Seven Wonders Duel, which is only 2 players. And at work, there are a lot of times where we just have... It sounds like we do nothing at work. This is not true. But there's a lot of times, more often not, we just have to listen to stuff.
Right.
So we will use all the rest of our body and we'll play games if it's one of those days. And we play a lot of Seven Wonders Duel. I feel like this could be one of those games. I don't know if we play it at work. I feel like this is one we don't want to get distracted from.
Right.
But, oh my gosh, I've said it before and I'll say it again. My best review of Welcome To is that it has disposable sheets. It's a Yahtzee game. I want to have to call Blue Cocker and ask for replacement sheets next year. I'm not going to finish it up this year, but if I can call them up next year and say, hey, ran out, can I get some more? I will know I got exactly what I wanted out of this game. If it gasses out before that, maybe my review's a little weak, but I've got to say I don't really... It's more, I feel, my only drawback is that teaching it can be intimidating. There's so much to throw at them before, and unlike other games where you just figure it out as you go, you can start making huge mistakes that are rule breaking and somebody has to sit there and police you. But if you can learn this game, and I swear, as much as we're talking, it's simple. It's very simple. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I get through those first couple hurdles, but Jair here will tell you, you get through the hurdles and it clicks and you realize, what have I been missing out on this whole time? Yeah. And because of that, I don't really have a lot of negativity for this. I think it's a beautiful game. The cover is subjectively beautiful. I think it looks really neat. It goes for a kind of a Norman Rockwell look.
Yeah, it has that simplistic. It doesn't have to be convoluted artistically. It doesn't have to be.
But inside, the cards are pretty, and I love the board, the sheets we play with. Mm-hmm. They're beautiful for what they need to be. The numbers all line up. Because the end is math. The end is nothing but math, but the math is so simple. And you don't sit there with a calculator just like, okay, add this, subtract this, add this. Oh, there's my score. Great. All the interaction is organic. Mm-hmm. The laughs, the humor, out of a very stale-looking game. From the outside, this looks very empty. And it's not. It's so not, and it's really thrilling. I'm giving it my star of approval. Dungeon Boy star.
Yeah, all right.
I definitely. Yeah. And I love that. Oh my gosh. So big one from me. And welcome to.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's, I'm glad I learned about this game. I don't think I've ever played games like it, but that's my journey here, huh?
No.
Just learning all the games.
And we're going to have a very, and as we segue into the next one here, you made a really fun note that we'll talk about here as you talked about your voyage through games here.
Yeah.
Let's take that time here.
You hear that, Evan? We're going to make you play this game until you like it.
Yes. Evan, I'm hunting you down. If you beat me in Scythe one more time, for every point you beat me, we have to play that many games of Welcome To. Yeah, that'll scare him. But, there was Welcome To, and now it's Welcome To Montana, Heritage Edition.
Oh, look at that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have been... So, Montana, the little story here is that I've discovered that I was wrong, and I can be completely pandered to. I can totally be pandered to. I was like, no, I can't. I've bought enough really bad Kickstarters or mediocre Kickstarters. I will know if I'm going to get a good game or not. And then Highlander, the card game, came out, and I was like, no! And I got it. Luckily, it was good. Luckily, I enjoyed it. It's a silly game.
Yeah.
The strategy's there, it's minimal, but I was so happy it was fun. But I did not buy it because I was sure it was going to be fun.
You got a mat for it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. And then Montana came out, and I was like, no! All I was thinking as, like, somebody who hadn't started designing a game yet was all these Euro games are about locations. Lisboa. Oh my gosh. No, it's not that I can't think of other ones. I was just trying to think of Puerto Rico.
Euro one, yeah.
And there's all these location based ones. I was trying to think of that Polish town. Warsaw. I'm sorry. That's why I got stuck. I deliberately got stuck on Warsaw. And they're all based on locations. So I was like, man, I should really make one about Montana is coming to Kickstarter. Oh, I missed it. It hit. It's been in Europe for a while, but it came to America, and Big Kid Games, they're a new publisher, and this is their first one. So when they made it, the Kickstarter was really slow, and the updates were lacking, and a lot of us got worried. I myself kind of worry. I'm a patient guy. Take all the time in the world, just keep us updated, and the updates were getting a little dry. And I was worried that it was going to be a little bad. But ooh, Montana. I told you this silly story for build-up. Now let's talk about how it plays. This is a very traditional Euro game where it's a modular board. It'll be different every time you set it up. It's very surprising when it finally pops up. There's a starting settlement, and from there you are gathering resources from the starting settlement to expand. Everybody has a certain number of settlements of their color, depending on the player count.
Little hexagon pieces.
Yeah, little hexagon pieces that you'll put out all over the board. And your goal is to try and get all of yours out first, which will signify the end of the game. And if no one ties you in the last round, then you win for getting them all out there.
If you tie...
Yeah, if you tie, then it looks at money and resources and that sort of thing. But to get there, you have to do all sorts of stuff. You are going to utilize the city with workers. You have meeples of a couple different colors. Each one of the colors is a resource. We have wheat, we have wheat, stone, copper, and pumpkins.
Tell me about your childhood in the pumpkin patches.
The pumpkin patches.
Of Montana.
The good thing is, we laugh, and then Rutger Dorn here, who I don't even know has ever been to Montana. He's I believe, I forget where he's from.
He's the mayor of Montana.
He's the mayor of Montana. I'm going to find out that, we used to be big in pumpkins, but the wheat, 100% accurate. Corn's not a thing in Montana. Wheat is. And copper, we had copper, silver, definitely, especially in the settlement times. But pumpkins. But they're the best resource. They're the greatest resource.
Yeah, it is. Now, let me ask you, if it wasn't pumpkins, what would it be?
Beer. Montana loves its beer. That's maybe not a settlement thing, but that's fair. They wanted a different vegetable of sorts because we could just talk about all the rocks that came out of it.
Yeah.
But you get all these resources, and the board tells you, hey, to settle here, you need 2 pumpkins and a wheat. You need stone or a big stone. And there's ways to upgrade, you'll find out in the game.
Right.
Certain spots you go to will have cows.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Tell me about the cows. There was a story about the cows, too.
Like as far as states?
They used to be different.
Oh, so in the Kickstarter... they were coming in, I believe, I don't know my breeds of cows, but I believe they were Asher. They're the black and white spotted cows, predominantly for milking.
Right.
Montana's not a milk state. It is a beef state. And so they changed them to, I forget, but they're the predominantly red with some white sort of cow. I believe it's a type of Angus, because we go between Angus and black Angus and that sort of thing. But they changed the meeples of the cows, and everything here is meeples. There's no cards.
So many meeples. There's awesome.
And tokens, and they're really, really nice. Now, granted, we are talking about having the Kickstarter version. The regular version, I believe, comes with less detail because there's also Cowboyz you recruit of all the different colors we were talking about, and they are all suited up. And again, I don't think that comes in the basic edition. It was just really cool. They took that attention. It's like, if you're going to bring Montana to the States, make it more like Montana, and they did. I don't quite know why we got pumpkins, but we got the wheat, we got the cows, and outside of beer, that's pretty much all we need.
Those Americans and their pumpkin.
Oh man, our pumpkins.
Pumpkin spice.
Oh, so yeah, like we have, that was the funniest thing about the whole thing is, like I said, every cowboy has a specialty: stone, copper, wheat, pumpkins. And they're colored to their spot. And so the pumpkin cowboys are very orange, and they're pumpkin spice cowboys, and they're the greatest. There were so many times you recruit cowboys to your team to go do stuff. I would just choose pumpkin cowboys because they're my favorite cowboys. How you recruit cowboys? That's another great part of this game.
Oh yeah,
they brought back one of the long lost components of board games, which is kind of despised by a lot of board game players: the spinner. If you remember the Game of Life, the spinner, it's back. And during the game, you can settle your spots out on the map. Right. If you have the resources.
If you have the resources.
You can send cowboys into town to get those resources. But you don't, in most worker placement games, you have workers, you send them out, and they come back with stuff. In this game, they're hired hands, you set out, and then they go about their day. They cut off spots on the map, very worker placement-esque. But once all the spots in the pumpkins patches are gone, or the wheat farms...
Yeah, by all the players, or however many players.
Once all those big spots in those areas are done in the pumpkins, then all the pumpkin spots become available, and the workers just go back to the pile.
Yeah, they don't go back to you. Yeah.
And that was an interesting mechanic. But so you run out. They are a resource themselves that you have to manage. So sometimes during your turn, instead of doing any of that, you can spin the spinner. And the spinner... every little slice of it are 2 different meeples that you can get. So you don't know which ones you're going to get. And when you do, you have to decide, like, you can manipulate the spinner. You can move it one more slice clockwise by spending wheat, which gives wheat an extra use.
Right.
Another form of economy for it. Where the pumpkins, one of your actions is you can send your townsman, which is a meeple of your color.
A dapper looking guy.
Yeah, really dapper. He's got a little top hat. He's really cute. And you can send him into the city. And at the city, you do an auction, which we love auctions. We love modern art. And you are auctioning for, usually the ability is to upgrade your stones to bigger stones and copper to bigger copper.
Right.
And there's some other cool stuff you can do, but that's the main idea. But to do that, you need to spend pumpkins. How many pumpkins are you willing to spend?
Yeah, and the cool thing is that if you do want to go into auction, you're basically looking at how many pumpkins you got and how many pumpkins everyone else got. Mm-hmm. Because if you start the auction, you put out your pumpkin. If you start it out, you get an extra pumpkin to, have a little bit of leverage.
You start with at least one then.
Yes. But if you're playing those 2 pumpkins you're throwing out there, but you see the next player has like 5 of them, you're like, oh man, this person can outbid you.
They can outbid you, and you won't get what you want.
And then you lose your pumpkins, right, at the end of the auction?
You can. There are different things to auction.
Right.
If you look at the board of Montana, there's different things to auction, but you could easily be nudged out of the things you want, and you have to make a suboptimal play. Or if you only have like 1 pumpkin and you get outbid, only one of the things you can bid 1 pumpkin for, so you can get outbid and get stuck. Maybe you lose your turn. And the other risk is everybody that's still on the auction track at the end gets stuff, which means they're using your turn to get things as well.
Right.
Typically in Euro games like that, you don't really care what's happening next to you. But in this game, I really do feel that competition, not only to get your stuff on the board, but also watching, like, the great thing is not all the economy doesn't work like the pumpkins do. So you can just look up for the easy-to-see pumpkin tokens across the room, like, oh, he's got 4. I've got 2. Is this something I really want to bid? But it's very clear usually what people want to use their resources for. He's going to want to settle here and here, and he's going to need all of those. Do I want to pressure him to use them for bids? Things like that. And it makes all these questions. And the best thing is, like usual, we're throwing rules out and everything. It's super simple. Because at the end of the day, you spin the wheel to get workers. You send workers throughout the settlement to get stuff. Or you can use those resources to settle. And all of those stack onto top of each other. But you do one of those and that's your turn. Bigger Euro games, it'll usually be like all those things in a certain order that you have to manage. No, you choose one, you do it. Now, you do have those cow meeples we talked about. They're special because they're a one-time use, but you can trade them in, get a resource, or get money, or get a worker of your choice. And they have this wonderful wild card ability to them, and it just feels good to stock up on them for a big move. And there's only so many on the board.
Talk about the canteens.
Yep, there are lakes on the board sometimes. I think the number of tiles, typically you'll at least have one. Every game we played, all 3 lakes came out.
Yeah.
And if you were the first person to settle next to a lake, you get a canteen, which lets you take whenever you use the canteen, lets you take another turn immediately after that one. Really, really nice. Because typically extra turns in Euro games, that sounds like torture. I love Great Western Trail. It's one of my favorite games. But I would not, for a second, want to take a second turn in that game. Because I would subject everyone else to, well, I did this. But let me do one more. No, that'd be awful. In this game, it just means, so I'm going to spin, and now I'm going to set my workers out. And it feels like half a turn of a big, thick Euro game. It's something that's really approachable. We taught this to a couple different people, and now granted, they're gamers. They're board gamer people, but they immediately picked it up. There were no questions like, okay, super simple, get to it. And the game offers this super simplistic setup and understanding so that you can yourself make the complex strategies of when do I want to explode with my settlements, when do I want to cut off other people. There's bonuses in settlements, the ways you do them. I won't get into them now. But knowing what they are, you'll look at the board like, oh my gosh, Greg's going to do this. I got to stop him.
Right.
And then he doesn't get around to it. Or no one watches like, okay, it's time to go do this and watch this amazing explosive turn. It's really fascinating. Everything's open knowledge and the resources are limited. That's never been an issue yet, but with 4 players or so, I could easily see like someone taking all the copper.
Yeah, because with the more people you have, the less resources.
No. There are more. There's usually about 5 resources per person.
Okay.
But it would be really simple if someone stocked up on like copper Cowboyz to go out there.
Right.
And it's a game that if you want to show people how classic Euro games work, this is it. Even the art looks like classic Euro games if you've played Isle of Skye or Puerto Rico or any of those old-time Carcassonne.
Right.
This is very much the same art, which isn't great, but I feel like the fact that there's so much 3-dimensional components with the spinner and the tokens and the meeples, not a problem.
Gives it a great edge. I don't know.
It pops up on the board, and people were walking by, and they were seeing all these cows and the pumpkins and everything. It's a very messy game, just getting everything out.
Yeah.
It could use some containers for all the different stuff, but really, it was really fascinating. I have now splurged for like a solid 10 minutes on this. Jair, please take over here. Tell us your impression.
So it's really neat that, it's another venture into here. That's the word of the day, huh?
Venture.
Into worker placement, which is really, really important for us to get into because, out of all the other games we played, Dungeon Pets, we haven't talked about Dungeon Pets.
And we need to play more.
Yeah.
For sure.
But worker placement, this is another one that, learning about board games, this is, like you said, this is the perfect game to get someone into that kind of gameplay. And I immediately picked it up, and I was just having so much fun just, understanding that concept that you want to bring with the summer camp game, which we'll get into in a minute.
Sure.
But yeah, no, really, really fun stuff. I mean, we played it twice. We were trying to figure out what we would want to play.
At the end of the day, we were running low on time. And this game, other reviewers came out and they're like, it's good, but it's really light. It's really light, and I guess that wasn't an issue for us. This game, when it's all sprawled out, it looks like it's going to be an hour and a half. It's 45 minutes. Yeah. It's one of the few games, the timer, as long as everybody understands, your first time will be longer, of course, but it's 45. You set up, and you're done, and you're satisfied. You're like, okay, we did it. Good job. Yeah, it's very short, and I feel like that's going to open it up to the more casual audience.
Yeah.
But one thing you mentioned during this game explained a lot about where Jair is as a board game person, enthusiast, nerd, whatever he is, we were just learning genres right now. We've been learning to take in, like, what do you like about games, stuff like that. And as we're just dumping all the components out on the board and it's all making the rattling noises and we're putting the cows up and everything else, you had mentioned something to the point of that the production value or the artistic choices.
Yeah, just the coin. Well, there was the coins, metal, very heavy coins, and
again, Kickstarter exclusive.
Yes. So when you start learning about board games, you don't really care. It's just like, oh well, I can just print this and make them myself. Why do I have to spend $50 in this game? But then you get Montana out with all of these meeples that someone worked really hard to design and work with. And then you get those heavy coins and you're like, wow, this is it's just something else.
The game just feels hefty.
Yes.
It's not. It's super light, but it gives you that.
You have your little bank.
Yeah,
your little bank.
I don't know if that's a Kickstarter exclusive itself, but yeah, there's you can set up a little bank area where all the coins go in, so it's not just plopped on the floor.
Right.
But it was just this nice little touch. It was like, oh, cool. I really do feel like I went into town to grab myself some money.
Yeah. So other than maybe modern art or high society, which had just beautiful art, because it definitely helps. Like you mentioned with high society, bunch of reprints. It wasn't as good until it got to the point.
It was relying on the really good gameplay.
Yeah.
But it was definitely, it was very limited because of it.
Yeah, so these games, they do get their art and you're fascinated by it. But when you get into a, board game like this, and you notice, and it's not even the art, because the art itself, it's all right. It's not. Well, I think
crazy. If you look at the drawn art.
Right.
But if you consider everything else,
we
do have even though we have upgraded meeples with the details on them and such, things like dungeon pets.
Right.
They're wooden coins. The food in the game are just little wooden squares. It doesn't stack up that much. But here you have wheat cutout tokens, and the stone and the copper look very different. And then the pumpkins. Even without detail, you can look at all of these from a distance and be like, I know what all those are.
Yes.
The meeples, they come out and they're clear color. This is a wheat cowboy. This is a pumpkin cowboy. This is a stone cowboy. I get it. And they all pop up enough that, I just didn't care about the rest of the art. And I feel the rest of the art filled what it needed to do.
Yeah.
Could it have been better? Arguably. I think a more traditional Western, Charlie Russell style would have been really neat. But no, I was really satisfied with everything else that was presented on the art.
So I got that feel of appreciation with this game once you got it all out and you just see all those meeples. So I really enjoyed playing this game. I really enjoyed having it out there. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it.
Oh.
I think I'm gonna pop that out, give it the Gold Star Supreme Bungalow.
The Jair Dungeon Boy star.
It's getting it.
When I got this in the mail, I was like, I hope it's decent. I hope it's all right. And I liked it. I liked the idea of what it was. And when you played enough games, you can hear the description of the game and say, you know what? I think I would enjoy that. I think I would enjoy that interaction. We started playing. I loved it. I think with the fact that it's modular and the starting point is always randomized, is always going to make the game very different in the strategy and the tactics. I think the way the board fills up offers a lot of thinking, because the first time we played, like I said, the areas that you get your resources start to be choked up as spaces become limited until it's completely cut off, and then it's fully open. No one was really utilizing that. There were other weird ways to get resources, and I was like, do I like this game? If I can just never have to go put my resources in, that means I don't use half the game. And then I just realized it was just the way the game was set up at that time.
Right.
And near the end, Everyone was rushing to those spots. Oh my gosh, get your workers. Get them out there. Get them out there. I remember we stopped one of our opponents by taking the second most expensive spot. So the only spot left was the most expensive. And he just looked like, no, I have to spend another turn to get what I want. And the game plays, you don't have to relearn the game every time you play, but you're going to play just different enough. It's worth coming back to. It fills that light to medium area. I wouldn't call it fully medium like Rise of Tribes or Expansity or anything like that, but it's that light medium area that I feel families would do well with.
Yeah.
And I think Big Kid hit the nail on the mark. I'm going to give my star as well. So this is a double Dungeon Boy star boogaloo. You got to figure out the official title and then like sit at work and like memorize it.
Yes,
but yeah,
yes.
2 stars. This is our big
go.
game of the week. We both were shocked by this.
They pandered to the right person, huh?
That's 2 for 2. It's all the ones I'm like, this will be a good game. I'm just going to get it because it looks like it's going to be a good game.
Now I wonder, we need to play Puerto Rico, see how bad they pander to me.
So in Montana, they you buy pumpkins, and in Puerto Rico you buy slaves. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah,
all right.
That sounds,
that's a lot.
For what it's worth, I've heard it's amazing.
All right.
We'll find out.
All right. No, but yeah, I would definitely get my own copy of this game and have it, right there with Carcassonne and Cards Against Humanity.
Get out of here.
No, just kidding.
No, it's...
But for sure, yeah,
I came in thinking this would be a nice cozy game I'll put in. I've got a couple games that I like, and they fill their purpose just fine. Montana, I'm actually really excited, to take to other people, hey, let's learn this. This is when I take home with the family, and they will humor me because it says Montana. I think we'll have a good time. I think we'll have as good of a time as when we busted out Ticket to Ride. Excellent game. Well done, Rudiger Dorn. Well done, Big Kid Games. Big shocker. Super happy with this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
Right on.
Oh, my goodness. And so, Scythe.
Excellent transition, my friend.
Just no transition. We're going in rough. You know why? Because Scythe has been rough.
Oof.
So week 4, you were not there.
I was not there.
You were not there.
We had some work situations going on, but it's fine.
It is fine. If you had to miss 1 week, for you, week 4 genuinely was okay to miss.
Yeah, you have the floor because that was. Yeah. You can explain that. Whole situation.
I don't want to spoil too much, and I was wondering how much do I want to tell people. As far as story and gameplay, I'm not going to spoil anything. But we set up, as you do for a 2-3 hour game of Scythe, and we were done in 45 minutes. That's it.
Wow.
Everyone just stared like, what? This is it? Wow. Now, the game kind of hints at that. And the game has said before, it will challenge you to play Scythe different than how you used to. And this was my wake-up call. Because before, I'd lost a game, but I was pretty easy to adapt. I didn't get a single star on the track.
I wasn't there to see that.
It was everyone else at least had 1 star. And the game scoring went 15. If you know anything about Scythe, we are usually average ending about anywhere between $40 to $60.
Yeah.
15 was the winning score.
Wow.
Followed by 14, 13, and then me at 11. And I'm an idiot because I could have won it and I thought my moves out better. Not as bad as I could have. They were understandable mistakes. But wow. Oh, it was painful. But it was okay. It was kind of like a filler episode to get you psyched up for the next stuff. Everyone else, they understood their capabilities. And Evan had some weird stuff in his situation that, again, I'm not going to spoil. But it was kind of his to lose. He was the guy who took second, but he definitely claimed ownership of that. Kind of lost the battle, won the war situation. Which leads us into week 5.
Ooh.
Week 5.
That was fun.
Ooh. That tempted the devil, and the devil tempted me, and I just jumped right in. I've decided we only have a couple episodes left, and we've done a good job of not spoiling it for people too much outside of the first episode, which again I don't think is a big deal.
Yeah.
But oof. It was aside from really the funny thing is aside from the few things it added, and thematically it was very different, and the things that were put on the board were different, but it was still a game of Scythe. It was a typical game of Scythe, and
out of all the like chapters we've played, other than the first one, this one was very, very Scythe-y. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of like, just playing it, maybe afterwards, after you finish it, it's like, oh, okay, this is something else. But all throughout, it was very Scythe-y, and I think everyone took great decisions.
Yeah, well,
not everyone, but
we everybody got to use their best game on this.
Yeah,
and I think the person who probably shook their head the most was Adrian, because Adrian, he won week 3 and week 4. He was on a 2-game win streak. When he saw what was put out on the field after the last game, when we learned how fast we had to adapt, and I did not adapt at all, I think he was too ready to adapt. And he tried to play a new type of game of Scythe. Right. He was trying to play more aggressive. As Polania, the white team, he kind of just tries to stay centered, build up an engine, build up resources, score a lot of points. That's how he does Polania, which is the best way to play Polania. And this time he got out there. He went out and did things. And not to say Polania can't do that. I just don't think today that worked out for him. Evan was just on top of it for a lot. Everyone made misplays. But he did some early ones, and he had to come back from them.
Right.
And he did. Everybody when they messed up were able to come back, except maybe Adrian's big mistakes were leaving himself exposed. And the curse of Polania, they make a lot of wood. And someone comes in and takes it. They're like, yeah, you know what? No one's going to hop over here. One of the transitions, slight spoiler, really, again, nothing big, but at Rusviet, the Russian team, one of their mech abilities is that they can teleport from a village they control to the factory. In episode 3 and 5, you're given a different township that lets you go from a village you occupy to another one you occupy or an unoccupied village. Polania has a village in their home area.
Yeah.
And it was left unattended and forgotten about, and I just decided, let me come a-caroling, and I found myself with some wood.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. I don't know how it happened. And Adrian just looked like, it's what I live for in Scythe, when people, no!
Yep.
Wait! I didn't, all of us have done it. We've all, oh my gosh, I forgot you can do that. Or, oh hey.
Right.
And that was, especially in episode 5. We're 5 games into this, when you can still make people go, oh no.
Right.
It's a satisfying feeling. But Evan was able, he just really kind of like a spider, kind of like slowly squished. Like just all the legs just got branched out properly. And, how about you? You played a really different game of Scythe.
I was just so glad. I don't even care. I think I came in just down there third, and just a little bit ahead of Adrian. But I was able to build my engine, something, I would hear you guys oh, I got my engine going. And I'm like, oh, I need to get in on that. And last time I played, I understood what I had to do with my player, Crimea. Mm-hmm. Their game style is a lot of movement all over the board.
Yes, you play cowardly. You hide in the corners.
Yeah, and what you want to do is just spread out as much as possible and get, as much as territory as you can, which I wasn't really able to, but I was able to build the engine to get my objective out there at the same time as I did my recruits, mm-hmm. which was really fun. And that was just all by building an engine of getting recruits out and getting workers spread around to get, the resources to get those recruits. And I think Greg or Adrian says oh wow, you played a peaceful game there, because I did not attack anybody.
Nope, you didn't attack anybody.
And I was in nobody's radar. I remember you asked me if what would you do if I attacked you? I'm like, I'm not gonna attack you. I'm doing my own thing.
From me, The game has some alternate win conditions, but ours was decided by stars, like a basic game of Scythe. And I was afraid of other people getting to do what they wanted.
Right.
And if you let people do what they want, all they're going to do is rake up points and just bathe in them. You can't let that happen. In any game, really a lot of these games, you have to dictate the pace. And so I was trying to decide, I was really low on stars. Without spoiling anything, I tripped, busted all my teeth, and fell over at the very early part of the game and pretty much had to restart. I thundered myself. If you remember in the first game, we had a Tokugawa purple player right next to me, and I came in and I just stomped on him really hard, and he never recovered. I accidentally stomped on myself. Play the game, you will understand when you get to Chapter 5. I just bashed my own teeth in. And then I had to recover. To be fair, I proved it can be done, and I did it hard. All the mechs came out. My military was top. I was flying around the board doing what I want to do. I took the Polania wood. I scoured everything. But everybody was just put in a place that the ending I wanted to get, I kind of realized was too risky, and I didn't want to give that opportunity.
Right.
So I decided to try and find ways to get more stars on the board. In the process of getting back up to power, I was trying to figure out ways to kind of cheat stars. And so I just kind of looked at Jair. You wanted something at some point. You wanted me to build. You wanted me to build so you could get your popularity up off the enlisting. And I was like, will you let me beat you in something? Well, will you win a war? And you looked at me like, what's going on? Like, it was a really bad deal. I was making such a bad deal. And you didn't quite take it, and I realized, you know what, it's not worth my time. And we moved on. But it was just that really fun, like, will you let me win a fight? And everyone looked like, no, don't let him do that. Do it, Jair. Do it. And then I realized, no, I can do it later. To fast forward, I started the same as everyone else, fell to the bottom, and I came back to a point everyone was afraid of me, and I was like, good. This is great. Then Adrian was poised to try to risk going to the alternate win route. I did not want that to happen, even if it meant the game. I had 2 stars left, and I hadn't been in a fight yet. And I just decided, what? I am rusty.
That was ridiculous.
I get to choose whatever. After getting him to agree to not do that for a turn, everyone's like, okay, I'm going to set up. Poor Jair here has all of his workers up.
Oh my
God. Everything out. And again,
them.
At the end of the game, you score for all your territories. He is going to fly them all over the place and drop them like as if they are sand over a forest fire. He's going to dump them. And he's next. Right after me, he's next. God. And I was like, but you know what, Jair?
So
what if we don't do that at all? And they all sat in one little corner, earning 1 territory.
Oh, man.
And I went into battle. I went and battled Greg, who was doing his own thing. Greg's kind of got this chaotic plan he wants to run with. And I went after Evan. Evan, I know, is going to do well in this game. I could have gone after Evan twice. Easy. Everyone else is going low. My military power right now is just on fire, and it feels great. It's so good. But I wanted to spread it across people. I wanted to spread the despair. And I should have focused on Evan. I beat them both down to the ground. We count up our money. And I'm tied. No, I'm tied with Evan.
Right.
But the tiebreaker is who's the most spread out. Remember what I said about Evan? He's spread out everywhere.
He was everywhere.
Had I battled him twice, that would have given me more money, and I would have won. The cost of that game is the heaviest I've seen yet. I've never been saltier. It's been so long since I've been that salty at a game because I just chose to fight Greg too.
Yep.
I wanted to show off. I had a plan. I saw what I was supposed to do 2 turns ahead. But I got distracted, and I paid the price. It was incredibly painful.
So if you ever get to the 5th chapter of Scythe, you'll know.
At the end of the game, you'll know.
You'll know.
Oh, man. So, again, at this time, Evan won the battle.
Yep.
And he won the war. And I'm like, no! Not the best of both worlds. Basically, Evan gets to play the game I've been wanting to play this whole time. And it's okay. What this means is I am just going to Rust-Viet more than I've ever Rust-Vieted before. I am going to spread communism, Ushankas, and denim jeans to all of Scythe. And I am coming back with a vengeance. There are 3 chapters left in Scythe. Rise of Fenris. And what a game! This is so wild. I don't like to talk about other podcasts or anything, but I was listening to Shut Up and Sit Down. They were talking about legacy games. And they were talking about Pandemic Legacy being really good, and a lot of the other legacies not living up to it. A lot of the things is that the boxes they open and the things they do in games like Werewolf Legacy and stuff like that, they don't feel thematic. They don't really have weight to them. They're just, here's a new surprise. All this stuff really is thematic, and it's clicking, and it's all got purpose, and it's wild, and I love it. I hate it, but I love it. And it's really just given us this crazy breath of life that this game kind of didn't need, but thank God it's there.
Because the base game itself is just fantastic. Granted, this is the only legacy game I've played, but
it's not truly a legacy, but it's a campaign.
Right, campaign. Yeah. So I mean, all other games just have a lot to look up to, at least on my side.
It's a very high bar that we had set for ourselves.
Yeah.
And the writing, there's very minimal writing. And that's one of the things Shut Up and Stand I was talking about. I only bring this up because they bring up a lot of good points I want to get some voice on, is that if you're going to write, you need to write really, really well.
Right.
The thing with...
Go ahead.
No, that was great. But the writing in Scythe is so minimal because it's the story that builds on the board.
Right.
The times we've had to make choices, it's, do you want this or this? And that sounds not as great. But genuinely, like in the first episode, war or peace. That sounds really silly and basic.
But it's changed everything.
But we understood the gravity of our choices.
Yep.
And that makes a great thing. And so, yeah, again, we love this. We're having a great ball. But, oh, man. I, as the guy who runs it, have seen spoilers and stuff. Like, there's an achievement sheet in Scythe. We had Evan sign his spots where he won. And I was covering up stuff on the board, on the sheet. Because I know if you read this, you know what's coming up. And I don't want people to know. Not for the sake of I know something you don't. I don't know what they do. But the fact that you don't know they're happening,
right? I'm
so excited for those guys. It's like the person who made the play or the movie. Yeah, I already know all the twists and turns, but I'm excited for you to see them. And, oh, man, we're in for a wild last 3 episodes.
Sweet.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Oh, so yeah, welcome to Good Stuff, Montana. Yes. Buy it.
Some really great games this week.
For us, I don't know episode-wise. I think we're kind of all over the place today, but game-wise, these are some of the best sets of games we've had in a while. So really good stuff. Hey, Jay. It's that time again.
Oh, yeah.
It's tea time.
Tea time.
Please do not make jokes whilst I drink. So.
This is what I needed.
I said we're going in strong. And this is one of the most pungent, I just love that word, one of the smelliest of teas I have in my possession. I have bought multiple boxes of this, one of the very few I've actually emptied the box of. That should tell you what I think of it. But tell me about this tea, Jair.
It smells like a big red bubble gum, one of those big reds.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got that
so
cinnamon.
It's real strong.
I know there's some cinnamon in there. I'm a cinnamon boy.
A cinnamon boy.
Yeah, I know there's some cinnamon, and I'm sure there's more in there. Can I get certain hints? This is a black tea or?
I didn't actually know if there was cinnamon in it, but there's actual cinnamon drawn on the box, so that's good. Let's see, you're kind of working with a little bit of a. I'm gonna go ahead and say you're working with a chai, a little bit of chai experience.
Yeah, because that spiciness, you get all those chai herbs, and spices. I love chai, dude. I am there's this place. My sister lives in Arcata, California. A big shout out to Arcata, California. My favorite little town out there. They have this place. I hope it's still open. Called Mocha Cafe. You go into the cafe, you drink your chai, you play some Scrabble, while you wait for your sauna appointment. Ooh. That they have a sauna and hot tubs in the back, and it's just fantastic. And this brings me back to that.
I like that you not only review the flavors, but the memories they give you.
Yeah.
And that Christmas with Mom is your least favorite TV. No. So this is Arcata?
Arcata.
So Arcata, California. TV.
Yes.
So with that in mind, what would you say is your final naming of this before I bring it out for you?
I'm surprised it might be a chai, but it could be just something else. I don't know, like a rainy day tea. Rainy day tea.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jair, Celestial Seasonings.
Oh wow.
We really should be paid by these people. They like to call it Bengal spice.
Bengal spice.
Yes.
Oh.
Bengal spice. And let's see what the blend master has to say about this. Brimming with cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, and cloves, this adventurous blend is like a trip to an exotic spice market in a faraway land.
Ooh.
Bengal spice is our caffeine-free version of chai. They keep using this word, the piquant. Indian brew traditionally made with black tea. Try it with milk and sugar for a true chai experience.
Nice. Yeah.
I didn't actually know it was chai at all.
Well,
and I would actually try that with milk and
sugar. Yeah.
With sugar. Yeah, I'd put a little honey in that.
Yeah.
But
just shout out honey.
Honey,
super underrated. You can use that for everything.
Honey,
man. Just
bee vomit. Never been better.
Yeah,
no,
for sure.
It's super solid. I've only drinking this bear, and I really the flavors pop, and it's just so aromatic.
Yeah.
It fills the room, and I've come to realize that's what I really like in tea. That's why I like roast aroma. But Bengal spice. Let's get down to brass tacks. Where does it rank on the Jair tea list?
Now, I forgot my $1,000 iPad at home. I don't have my list here. But
I believe it goes pumpkin, jam and lemon, and roast aroma.
And I would put it right next to that ginger one.
The lemon ginger?
Yeah.
The lemon ginger, like right in line with it?
Yeah, because I mean that's what helped me with my throat, sore throat, this last couple of days. And then this just brings back the memories. That pumpkin spice.
Ooh, I give this 5 memories out of 5. Well, fantastic.
Nice. I give it 5 Minority Reports out of 5.
What the blue blazes? Goodness.
All right, guys.
Speaking of summer camp, you can bring up whatever that was. I can transition with the great graceness of a pregnant swan. Let's talk about summer camp. The episode 1 made a promise. We would have a prototype by the end of the month. It is now October 5th. I got news. Our prototype's done.
Give me the good news.
That is the good news. It's done. I fulfilled that goal. We did it. It's the hotness. Is it super complete? No. But that's the thing with no.
Keep going.
It's done. It's out there. Basically the components of this game in bare bones are the campers, the dice that they accumulate, and the locations that they get them. We have all those things. Those are all done. The specifics, those are where this game needs to grow. What the locations do, what they offer, things like that. And they're to be written down on, I cut out foam core. I just got foam core and I just made these squares. They're very boring looking squares. And they just say the river, the main hall, the choir room, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to write down what they do. As we progress, I'm going to take a piece of paper, cover that with paint, with tape, and then we'll forget what the first effect was. The specifics need work, but that's what a prototype is for. And I can't really progress with those without getting those physical components out there. Are there more physical components we'll need? I think so. Yeah. I think a cabin, like a place to physically put your characters, is a good idea. I think having some sort of score tracker. And I could use anything. I could have used the extra punch out coins from Montana.
Oh, yeah.
But I know a place that sells like little wooden tokens and stuff, and I'm just probably going to go buy some yellow stars. A lot of this game looks so ugly in a prototype that I want to treat myself in small ways. We got all the different colored dice.
Right.
I want some stars. I want some stars so I can feel that redemption, and then I can be okay with those things.
Right.
But we have those, and I'm really excited about that. And my goal is either by next episode or the one after it, I want all the locations to be labeled clearly with what they do. And I'd really like to get some games in, whether it be with us or just other people, and just make up rules. We're going to make up rules, take note of what rules we made up, and figure out what questions to be asking people.
Yeah.
There is a board game design Reddit. I'm going to get on that. I was on it for a little while, but I wasn't making games. I was just reading what people were doing.
Right.
And I'm gonna do some research on what they recommend getting into this thing, because once I think if we can, it's gonna be a crazy month. It's a crazy month.
That's what I was
we have
about
Halloween.
to say.
We've got the balloon fiesta. We live in Albuquerque.
Yes.
We have green chili. We've got a film industry, and we have the hot air balloon capital of the world.
Yes.
This is weird wind tunnel thing. It's like it's this one tiny valley area. It's not even really, but it's just one area where all the wind is like, hey, if you were to invent some sort of dirigible, I will send it up there for you. And if you wake up early in the morning, you can just watch the sky just fill up with these things, which is really popular in the
flying
desert.
Light bulbs.
Yes, and it's really cool. But you need to wake up really early.
Yep.
I don't do that. I say as I woke up early today. But that was cool. I was walking home, and I watched. It didn't happen, but it looked like it had literally come out of the main street I was walking down.
Nice.
And it was just like, geez, look at this thing. And
awesome.
And it's just going to happen for the next month all over the place. They're just going to show up wherever they so well please.
I was just telling my friend in New York about the Balloon Fiesta.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling her how we have. I used to work at that coffee shop. Shout out Prismatic. Give me all the free coffee.
We'll review your coffee instead of the tea.
Yeah.
We'll be those guys.
They actually have some tea. I can.
They don't think we can be sold out.
But so, anyways, I would go there really early in the morning. I would just bike there, and I would get there around 6 a.m. Like 6:30. I'm just setting up shop. I just see this balloon just landing right in front of the coffee shop, and I'm like, oh, wow. Do you guys want some coffee? And they're like, oh, yeah, let's do it. It's
Albuquerque
just fascinating.
It's so weird. This place is so strange, and I love it. I have no investment. I had no investment in green chili. I loved the ever-loving poop out of it. And I had no investment in hot air balloons. I still don't. But just the fact that I live in this weird community where all these things can thrive, it's odd. But, the other great thing is we have board game designers here. I need to get in touch with them and because we have
good segue.
No.
We
were. It's okay because Etten, our local game store, we've successfully shouted them out every time. They're going to have a play test here this weekend. It's some sort of cooperative Roswell game where all these the invasion of little green meeples is what it's called, and all these I guess the green meeples are aliens, and you have to cooperatively keep them away. sounds neat, but that's happening.
Yeah.
They supported another game called Taco Party, and that just released, I guess. I don't know anything about it myself. All the cool stuff happens when we're working. But the big one is Level 99 Games. Anyone in the board game industry knows about BattleCon and Millennium Blades. BattleCon is the best fighting game in board game format. It's the absolute best, and it's out there right now. They just did a Kickstarter for the final version, which comes with a tuck box for every deck of cards, which is a different character. So when you open up, and it's a big box, so you can put all the different expansions in. So when you open it up, it looks like just a giant Mugen choose your fighter game, and it's incredible.
That's awesome.
They also made Millennium Blades, which is follow me on this, collectible card game simulator. Collectible card games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering.
Right.
In this, you spend the first half of the game collecting cards. And you buy boosters with your money and in the in-game money, and there's these boosters and such. And you become Yugi and Yu-Gi-Oh! And then the second half of the game is building your deck and actually playing each other.
Wow,
and
that's interesting, huh?
But they're ridiculous. These guys they're a legitimate, full-fledged board game company, and they're based here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's just ridiculous. So let's get on that train.
Yeah.
But we want to get on that. We're going to be testing this. I think as far as what to tell you guys, it's been kind of just a little diary. I'm going to, when we get this to the board, I'm going to make note of the rules that we discover. What are rules that we realize we need to implement? Maybe some creative ideas.
Right.
When I was at Gen Con, there was Battle of the Bards, which is a dice building, deck building game where you build the best band. It's fantastic, a fantastical game. But that day they were like, hey, you can use this card this way, or you can use it this way. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Yeah, came up with that this morning. We were trying to figure out this problem. I think I solved it. So you're playing with the newest rules that were invented like 6 hours ago. I was like, whoa, neat. Yeah, and so I love that epiphany, and I realized that's totally possible for us. And we're going to be looking at it. We're going to be dissecting it. I would like to get us to play a game and realize how we need to scale this thing with different locations. How many of them are there, and what do we do with them? But that's the goal. There's not much to tell you other than we finished it, and that's huge self-deserving pat on the back because all of this is a self-indulgence for our own egos. But no,
I'm feeling great.
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, you just recovered from death. We're watching Venture Brothers. We played 2 amazing games, and Scythe happened, and we drank great tea. So we're doing okay.
We are drowning in success, huh?
We're drowning in success because we're feeling a lot of support from people. We mentioned James earlier.
Yeah.
Alexis, sister, dropped the very first ever Dungeon Boys fan art.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it happened a while back, but I finally had a chance.
Do we have that up in the
I showed it up. Yes, it's all over the media.
That's awesome.
Had it about a week or 2 ago, and I kept meaning to post it, and I finally dropped it, and I wanted to announce it all at the same time. But Alexis said that was super cool. Cameron hooked us up with the theme music.
Oh, yeah. And so much community support for this. It's just awesome. I'm just really excited for all of the things to come.
I expected a little bit of friends and family, but I think the big surprise are the people. Like I said, I had to message. I know he's probably listening, but I forgot James's name. I forgot, and I messaged that, and I was like, "Who was that guy? Who was he?" And I got Sally, who wasn't there, and she's like, "Oh." And I just kept messaging, "Tell me. I want to know. I'm not messing this up. I'm terrible with names. Give me a name." And then later on, James. It's like yes. And Susan's listening. I get a couple of guys. Adrian's listening.
Yeah.
I forced them to.
Jasenia up in New York, she's listening. She's kind of like on my same level of I'm trying to understand games. She's giving me good input and saying when you're talking about stuff that doesn't make sense to the common non-board gaming people, you should ask a little bit more. So I've been trying to do that. Whenever you throw out a big term out there, just oh, like, yeah, what does that mean? Because
like
I don't know
like
what
the
it
roll
means.
and write and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
So thank you.
that's the big appeal to this. I was like, I don't want to make something where I just talk about games. You know, I need to have someone else out there that can really bring that new thing to the table. That's, you know, Jair, you were perfect for it. So many levels. And again, this is all super self-indulgent.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're hugging right now. We're not. But yeah, it's been a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
We're glad. Thank you for sticking through us. Sorry for the empty week there. I'd like to say it's the only one. There'll probably be other ones. We'll always make up for what we can.
Yeah, keep it up going and drinking.
And yeah, it's actually a shorter episode than usual too.
Yeah, but that's
good.
That's
great.
A lot of
we
stuff.
were expecting like a 2-hour episode.
Yeah, but that's all right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We love you guys, and we love tea. So if you want, you can just send us tea. I think I've mentioned this before. Wait. Oh, I bet you guys love that, don't you? All right, guys.
All right. Until next time, take care.
Take care.